Alrighty, everyone. How are we doing? By the way, this is all new. We're trying a new streaming thing. If you were at the old streams, this should look different. It should look better. Trying some different things. So let me know if you're watching, whether anything if you hear me, if you see me, everything should look good. I'm trying to track both, but I'm using something a little different. So we'll see what happens. I'm just going to chat for a second to see if this updates on my end. It's a little just delayed on my side, so I think that it looks okay, but I can only tell. So in any case, if you are new and just hanging out, I love these lives. I love hanging out with you guys. Even if you're seeing this later, I love just kind of having this out there. It's a different medium. A lot of y'all listen to the podcast a lot, so it's fun just to do that. But hopefully everything is going well in terms of just this being there. If you want to win one of the books that you, you know what? Let me change what I'm doing right now. Let's start over, okay? I'm a little scatterbrained here. What we're doing here today is we are revealing the cover of my next book. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do it just to put it out there alive. But this is really me testing out this live platform and just seeing what I like and doing all of that. So I'm kind of multitasking, so to speak. But the cover's coming soon. Before we get to that, I want to remind you guys that I'm doing some giveaways. These books right here are absolutely amazing. I am sending out these books tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, Monday. I have a stack that I have to send out because I've been doing giveaways and whatnot, and I was kind of waiting to kind of put them all together. Now we can just send them all out at once. So that is my primary goal currently, to get some of these books out. So whether you're watching live or whether you're going to watch this later, we will get those books out to you. So comment, answer one of those questions. You know how we do it in Teacherland. We love having the actual questions there. So if you want to do, you can do both and you can just respond to each other. But for all you do, the self-care encouragement for teachers, Peter Mishler, I had him on the podcast not too long ago. I have his book right here. It is phenomenal. It's kind of like, one of those just books that you, like they always put books like this at like at the front counter at Barnes & Noble. That's what it feels like. But it's very high quality. It's really amazing. And he has some wonderful stuff in here. It's not just about self-care. It's also about just being honest about teaching and whatnot. Fantastic book. You can talk about that and shift this. A lot of you guys have already read this probably, but it's absolutely phenomenal. I want to give this one away. This one is from my publisher, so shout out to them. Shout out to everyone that is hanging out today. But this book is absolutely amazing. It's about making small changes in order to make big impact. So both these are amazing. Leave the comments. You can do that right now or later. Does not matter. And by the way, I'm not 100% certain how long I want to be hanging out on this. We'll see what happens. I was gonna see. This was kind of like I mentioned it on the podcast, and then I kind of mentioned it in a few places to get this going to let you guys know to come. So I don't know. People may show up. People may not. Maybe talking to myself for a while, which is 100% okay. In any case. The book cover, you guys, this is something that is so interesting to me, where we have, when you're publishing a book and when you're putting out something, there's so many things that go into it. And I'm horrible at design. Some of y'all hung out when I was talking with Dave Burgess over there on their online show that they do at their Facebook page. If not, I have the link in my Facebook. You can go check it out. But in there, we're talking about just design, and I had kind of confessed that I'm horrible at design, and anything that ever looks good, it's because of someone else. I'm an idea person. I'm an action person. I'm not really good at design. You can get that if you walk into my room too. Like anything that's really there is because someone else a lot smarter than me helped me all of this, like in the way this looks, and even down to the camera, which hopefully looks better than last time, from my friend and my wife and everyone together. So with all of that to say, when you're messing around with when you're oh yes, you are used to talking to yourself. Anyways, I love it. Also, my boy Forrest down there, if y'all need any video going down, if you need any video solutions, someone to record your stuff, go ask him. Go check out his stuff. He helped me do the video of these kids. He's helped me in a variety of ways. He's the reason why this shot looks a lot better than it did last time, and everything else. So, he's fantastic. So go check him out. Big love to him for helping me out. But anyway, what was I talking about? I get distracted by the comments. Glad to see a few of y'all down there hanging out. I do talk to myself a lot. I don't think you can have a podcast unless you can talk to yourself a lot. Any case, let's get to this cover thing, okay? Because I want to talk a little bit about the book, but I want to show the cover. I mean, I don't want to sit here and just blabber on without anything. So let's get to, you know what? I'm gonna hold off just for one more second, because I want to emphasize this again for people who are interested in getting some free books, amazing books. Answer those questions, respond however you need to. You don't even have to. If you just interact, hang out, then I'll pick that too. You know, if it's just us in the chat right now and we're the ones hanging out, we're the only ones who get the books. So I want to give away these two. They're absolutely amazing. I have access to tons of books that are just stacked over here to give away. So I try to do it as much as possible. You know, one of the perks of doing the Teach Me Teacher podcast and everything else is that I get sent books often. So it's kind of cool. I read a lot of them, but I also want to give a lot of them away. In any case, let's get to the book reveal, you guys. This is something I'm super excited for. I'm super excited about the book. But without further ado, here we go. Boom! Writefully Empowered, you guys. A manifesto of possibilities in the writing workshop. I love this cover. I love that it pops. You know, when you go into the store and you're looking, or like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you're shopping at, you have all these books. A lot of teacher books kind of look samey. You know what I mean? Like there's just not a lot of edge to it. It's kind of all the same. And there's also a lot of fantastic covers. Like I think Shift This is a fantastic cover. What's another one? Oh, you know, the color I really love the esports education playbook. All those covers, but you know, a lot of them are just kind of bland, but I love this because it's all about rightfully empowering students. I think we got something really special here, and I think it emphasizes the loudness of the book. So in just a couple backstories, I'm gonna do a couple of these lives to kind of detail some what I think are the cooler parts of the book and some of the highlights and why I think people will enjoy it. I'm not going to go to all of that today, but what I do want to talk about is just kind of like the idea behind it and what the book actually is. So we're going to skip over here. I'll leave it right there. But this book is, yes, thank you. Thank you for everyone hanging out. Great cover. Thank you very much. So cool. And the play on words is dope. I appreciate it. That was something that so let's start there. Let's start with the title. So the title was something that I wanted to do a play on words because some of my favorite books do that. I think it's clever. It's fun for the English teachers to kind of do that. You have, Penny Kittle, she has right beside them, which was one of my inspirations for this title. I was like, man, that's so clever and brilliant and how it connects to what she's talking about through that whole book. Shout out to Penny Kittle. But, so we did that. We came up with Writefully Empowered. And this book, in terms of ideas, really took shape in a lot of different ways. At its core, it is me talking about how Writing Workshop has shaped not only how I think about pedagogy and what we do in the classroom, but also how it's by the certain structures involved in workshop, it literally free students from more oppressive structures that kind of exist in schools and in English. And what I mean by oppressive is keeping their voice, confined to boxes and confined to worksheets and like strict non-in context grammar practice and all of that stuff. And I'm obsessed with Writing Workshop. I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. And more importantly, it gets the students learning at such a deep level because they're actually free to explore and interact. So at its core, it's that journey of me doing that. But it's less of a memoir as much as Teach Me Teacher was. Teach Me Teacher was definitely a narrative throughout the whole thing. It has a beginning, middle, and end. This one is more of this is the book that I want someone to pick up. It's short. I say this in the intro, but I intentionally wrote it to be short because I want someone to be able to consume it quickly and then go off and either do more research or start putting everything into practice that's in the book. Because of that, it's very specific. Like there's really not a lot of fluff. In fact, I'm still in kind of the final stages of the editing where I'm even condensing it more because I want it to just be, I don't want it to be filled with all kinds of stuff. I want it to be something that is immediately useful to you. But more importantly, there is a piece to this that I think that I'm probably going to talk about a lot because I think it's important, especially in the current state of things. Says, I can't, by the way, your name, I want to pronounce this correctly. Is it Emily's? We type it out phonetically for me. I want to see what that is. But she says, I can't wait to get a copy. Thank you so much for teaching us through the podcast and now the book. Well, thank you for listening and being a part of it. This is what I do. A lot of it is just me sharing my journey and just enjoying it. But in any case, I want to go into just the empowerment piece of this. And I said this a little bit with Dave, but I want to hit it on again, which is we have these ideas as teachers, right? A lot of us, we understand that education can be game changing. It can be life changing. We understand that a great teacher can be the difference in the lives of so many kids. My first book is literally about how teachers were the difference for me. But there is this concept that I think gets wedged in, and I think it contributes to a lot of burnout. It contributes to a lot of misunderstandings about the roles of teachers. But we talk a lot about giving student voice and empowering students, and it almost comes up with almost a saviorism complex to some degree. And the more I've wrestled with this as a professional and in my own journey and really what I'm doing, I have found that the difference between empowerment and rightfully empowered is an empowered person. When we're talking about strict definitions of empowerment, it's what I, the powerful, give to you, right? And what I want to stress in this approach to Writing Workshop is students already have their voice. They already know what they want to say. What they don't usually have, because of their age and experience, is they just don't have the tools necessarily to do so, or they're being restricted to where they can't practice with the tools in general, right? We might say you need to write this, you have to write to this prompt, you have to stay within these guidelines. And that's what I want to kind of remove and talk about and rightfully empower them, meaning I'm not giving them something that they don't have. What I am is I'm providing tools and a space for them to explore within their own topics, genres, focus, word choice. I mean, it's all in there, and it's this idea that fuels the book fundamentally, because there are guides in there. In the book, I give you I give some specific examples of how you can run a workshop, what needs to be in a workshop. Are there non-negotiables in workshop? We talk a lot about, I go from everywhere from room design to assessment and data. I go through the whole thing in terms of what it does, but I also talk about how we have to be advocates for teaching this way, because not everyone is comfortable with having a lot of freedom in a classroom. Not everyone is comfortable with giving students free reign over their writing. They'll be like, well, how are they ever going to learn? How are they ever going to learn how to implement grammar and anything like that? And kids won't write, they'll only do this. And what I found is students will write if we get out of the way. If we create systems and structures and routines that are not oppressive, that are not subversive, but they literally get students excited about what they want to write and what they want to talk about, because they know their voice is going to be honored. They know it's not a trap. They know if they do it wrong, it's not going to ruin their grade. And we talk about grades a lot in the book. But it's all of that wrapped into one that's a part of this. So I couldn't be more excited to talk more about the book and to dive more into detail. I think as these lives go on and as the book gets closer and closer to its final stages, I'm going to start showing some excerpts. One thing I do want to say is one of the best parts about the book is you can't talk about rightfully empowered writers without showing rightfully empowered writers. So the book literally features over 30 pieces written by the students I've had for the last 2 years. And some of them are intense, and they are a lot of them are like, there's some of them that are activists, and some of them are super creative. And I tell stories about how we arrived at some of their ideas together, and how they arrived at their ideas alone, and how they developed over this. And their pieces are definitely the highlight of the book. And I think we're going to do something special with and how we feature them. It's going to be very cool. So it's an effort on me, but there's also so much of it from these young writers that hopefully, we'll consider them rightfully empowered, and they'll just keep on doing what they want to do. So I can sit here and talk forever, but I want to say, you guys, thank you for everyone who came. Thank you if you're watching this later. I know some people have like live anxiety, like, well, I don't want to watch live or whatever. It might throw me off. So if that's you and you're a lurker, hi. I don't see you, but hi. Yes. Oh my goodness. Your students will be so excited about this. Very special. What was really cool is, so last year, I'll tell one more story. Last year, COVID happened, and then we went digital, and a lot of my students kept writing through that. They had developed a love. So it was when I was teaching 6th grade. They loved writing. They loved publishing. They loved that. So they were just writing in general from that. And they wrote all summer because they knew that I was going with them to 7th grade. So all summer long, they were sending me pieces. And we had, just because we were already digital, the digital stuff was already in place to where we could conference if we needed to, which was kind of cool. Obviously summer hits and then people are gone and whatnot. But so that kept happening. So when I had them again the next year, it just doubled, because I got to take all of my notes that I've had, all my conferences. I keep all my conferences digitally. We got to take that into the next year. So I literally got to begin exactly where we left off with them. So we just hit the ground running, and when they found out the book was going to get published and that I wanted to feature a lot of their writing, they started having conversations like, okay, what are you going to feature? Like, which ones are you going to do? And I was like, well, I don't know. I want you to be a part of it. So they got to pick the pieces that they put in there. And one thing that is the coolest part about this is that none of the pieces in there were assigned by me. Not a dang one. Every single one of them were chosen to written by them on their own time, which is in class. Well, obviously they wrote outside of class too, but I'm saying the class is designed to where they get to choose what they want to write and what genre and what focus. And that's what all of them are. None of them were for strict assignments. The expectations of the class is that they write and publish, and that's what they did. And there are so many pieces in there. A lot of them are excited. I imagine what we're going to do, because they're in 8th grade next year, is we'll do a book launch when the book comes out, and we'll do some special signed pieces from them. So they'll sign their piece or the book or whatever. So it'll be all these authors, super, these middle school authors. And that's what they are. I mean, we publish in our classroom, and I kind of, we talked about data walls, but my walls are covered in their writing and everything else that needs to be there. And it becomes a moment where at the end of every 6 weeks, the students know that I'm going to put up new pieces, and they always come in excited to see who made it and to read the pieces that made it. It's like this big classroom experience. And now we get to do it with the book, which is fantastic. And obviously, a lot of their parents are super excited. There's one writer in particular that I'm not going to spoil too much because her stuff is essential to the book in a lot of ways. But she told me right before we left for this summer that she was talking with her parents, at dinner or whatever. And they had talked about, what she wants to do for a living. And she was like, yeah, I told them I'm a poet. She's like, that's what I am, and that's what I do. And that's what this book is about really empowering voice, letting that voice be what it can be already, and giving some tips along the way. So short and sweet. I saw someone in the comments say that that's something that needs to be more in professional development. And that's 100% right. I've read so many reading workshop books that are just so thick, and a lot of them are fantastic, but I don't need to read a million of those, and neither do you. So hopefully the book serves that purpose. Keep an eye out for all the news coming. I have to get my admin to watch this, Chris. Hey, let's do it. We have a brand new school being built, and it is amazing. We had like an old school, like from the people who work in my school are going to be so mad at me when I say this. It was like from the 50s, I think. I don't know. It was old. Like the things are falling apart, but we have a brand new, beautiful building. So hopefully we'll be able to do some cool PD. Hopefully districts will allow me to come out to y'all's schools and to come and show this process, but better yet, show you what it looks like in context from actual student pieces, which would be absolutely amazing. So if that's something y'all are interested in, keep your eye out for when the book comes or whatever. I do trainings. We can do that as well. So just tell your principals. Let's make it happen. We could even do something over Zoom if COVID is going down. But I appreciate everyone in the comments. I want to say one more time before I leave, I'm going to do these giveaways of these books. You can answer those questions. If you don't, you can just, all the people that commented, I'll just go through there. I'll pick some winners. If you want to be the first people to know when the book drops and everything else, obviously y'all are here on the Facebook page. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter. You can also go to the email list over there at teachmeteacherpodcast.com. I don't use it that often. I think the last time I used it was actually for book 1, Teach Me Teacher. So you don't have to worry about me bothering you in email all the time. It's really just to kind of get the word out. So you can join it there. But I appreciate everyone here hanging out. I hope that you guys are as excited as I am. Let's do this again. Boom! There it is. Rightfully empowered, you guys. Thank you so much. I'll talk to y'all later.